Welcome back, everybody, to the stream. So this week we are going to be covering Fenrick and Luny's backstories a little bit. As everyone remembers, last stream, they wrestled the airship, from its crash course. It hit the ground anyway, despite their best efforts, and everyone passed out. And we're going to be covering the little mental battles they'll be going with during their unconscious state. So, without further ado, Fenrick, you find yourself in a very, very dark space. You're kind of confused. You do have flashes of memory. You've got, slight memories of, being on the airship, there being almost a battle, and you guys, bracing for impact as you saw the ground coming closer, and then suddenly you were here. You hear a voice kind of echoing around you in this blank, dark space, saying, "Oh, well, we can't have you doing that now, can we? Looks like you will be needing a little help, but you might need to stay here for a minute while I get things taken care of."
Get what taken care of? Who are you? Where? What is this?
You hear a feminine chuckle and say, "Oh, you'll find out soon enough." And around that time, the area around you brightens up, and you find yourself in an area where I accidentally deleted the music.
Oh no, the music's gone.
There you go. Music's back. So you find yourself in a familiar patch of forest. Looking around, you find that these are some of the forest paths that you went around when you were younger. They're just on the outskirts of the village you grew up in. You're not sure why you're here, and your memory seems foggy at best.
This is quite weird indeed.
As you walk down this path, you notice that your strides seem rather short. And as you walk up to this clearing that you're very familiar with, you've spent a lot of time here in your childhood, you realize the man standing before you, which at your current age you should be towering over by at least a foot, you are shorter than him. You're quick to notice that you look down and you're in the body you were as a child. You're much younger, much shorter, much thinner than you are now. But oddly, this doesn't seem off-putting to you. The man turns his familiar face to you and grins and says, "Ah, I was wondering when you were going to show up. Thought you were going to be here an hour ago."
I thought an hour ago.
Yeah, you always seem to show up here in the mornings when we're going to be training. Come on, get on over here. We got some time to keep up with.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
Well, I say I'm going to be teaching you how to fight. That's what you're here for, right? We're going to be, dusting up those knuckles, as he kind of like playfully jabs at you and kind of like gives out a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, why not?
He starts to take off the side sword he has belted and the bow off his back, and he kind of limbers up and looks at you and puts his knuckles up. He's like, "All right, so where did we leave off last time? What can you remember?" As he starts doing a couple probing jabs at your torso, not really connecting, but just getting just inside your guard.
I don't quite remember. It seems distant. I think I slept weird or something.
I guess that can happen and would explain why you're a little late today. We'll go over the basics. And with that, he starts going through a few simple blocks and punches with you that seem to be coming back very quickly. Everything still seems slightly distorted and slightly off kilter to you, but everything seems to come back, and you feel really in the moment as you start, giving your own probing jabs back and getting into the training with him. So,
How long has it been?
well, we were just training here yesterday. I know I haven't been here around for a while, but I've got responsibilities in other parts of the forest too.
Yeah, no, of course.
I wish I could stay around more often and work with you, but after a while, you're going to be getting quite a bit bigger than me, just like your folks.
Yeah, I guess I will. It seems strange. I don't quite know how to say what I'm feeling.
Well, I mean, he kind of straightens up and gets out of his fighting stance. He's like, well, if you're feeling odd today, we can always take a break from training. We don't always have to be learning to fight, I know the other people around town don't quite approve of it.
No, it's fine. But can you tell me more of the stories?
Ah, the ones about the red arms?
Yeah, those ones.
You know what? Let's go ahead and sit down and talk about that for a bit until you start feeling a little better. He kind of takes a seat right where he was standing there on the floor and says, well, what did you want to hear about? We've got, the early days when they were just, running around with their stolen ships. We've got, height of the war when they were, at odds with all of the different nations around them. Or the exciting ending when, only a few ships got out of the big cataclysm.
Yeah, let's hear more about them helping people, because I've been told a lot recently that you can't help people by fighting. And I feel like with everything you've told me, that's not true.
A lot of people seem to have that kind of perception. They think that, just because you learned how to fight, you're only going to be using it to hurt people. And I guess in a way, someone will always get hurt when you need to fight. But it's more about deciding when you're going to fight. Like the Red Arm stories I always tell you about. They were originally soldiers. They learned how to fight, but in a time of peace. So when the real war started, they started questioning what they were doing. Why were they going to fight their neighbors? So they decided that they were going to use their talents that they learned to go and save the common man, the farmers, the villagers that were in the path of these, roaming armies that were going to sack their villages. And they would, put themselves between the army and that village and make sure that they were safe and only fought if they had to. And that's really the difference there, is choosing when you fight and making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Only fighting to help and protect others.
Exactly. You see, what I do isn't so different. I'm a ranger, and I rarely have to be dealing with other people, but I still have to, find these, predators that aren't supposed to be natural in these areas, that are overkilling the rabbits or the deer of the area or anything like that, and make sure everything's nice and balanced. I'm not going out to, hunt these critters for, money. I'm not here to hunt them for malice. I'm here to make sure everything in the forest stays balanced and equal. And the same thing goes for people. Sometimes you just need to fight other people to make sure the majority of people are safe.
To keep the balance. You're right.
Well, anyway, off of the serious talk, let me tell you about an exciting moment where the Red Arms flew in the middle of a battle. There was already a group of refugees moving out of the area, but they got caught between two armies. And right around that time, he gets interrupted by a gruff voice on the from the edge of the clearing, saying, "Hey!"
Oh no.
You see, walking up to the clearing is the elder of the village. You've had poor interactions with the elder in the past few years since you've started training with your good friend here.
I shrink back a little bit.
What do you think you're doing? All the way out here by yourself, except for, and he looks over and says, Master Fenrick, and he bows to the ranger sitting across from you.
He's just telling me stories. I don't.
I know what you come out here to do. It's not the first time I've seen you out here, and I hear stories and people talking in the village. You may be sitting down right now, but he kind of looks at your hands and the gear sitting off to the side of Master Fenrick across from you. I know you guys were out here sparring, learning how to fight. It's not proper.
What's so bad about it? If I'm helping people, I don't see the issue.
Helping people? Ha! We have no fighting in our village. Who are you going to be protecting them from? The carrots?
From the people that seek to hurt us.
We haven't had any issues with the neighboring towns in generations. And you know why? Because we don't fight. We make sure we look harmless. We're a lot bigger than the humans that live around us. And you know what? If we know how to fight and we carry weapons, they get scared and it causes trouble. It's not proper, and I don't like you doing it.
But shouldn't we be prepared in case something happens? Like, not if we have to protect the forest, we have to protect the sacred lands.
Our sacred forest, it protects itself. It's enchanted and has many magical creatures in it that can hold their own. And we have people, he kind of looks over and bows at Master Fenrick again, who are honored in their duty to protect these forests, the magical and non-magical. And your mother, what do you think she would think about you out here training and dusting up your knuckles every day when she spends all day out in the forest making sure everything's going right? She's the speaker of the forest,
She doesn't seem to have a problem with it.
And she may be wiser than us in most areas, but I'm still the elder of the village, and I have to deal with the neighboring towns and all of their mayors, and I don't want things to get sour just because we have one young brute walking around knowing how to hurt people.
I'm not here to hurt people, I'm here to protect people. I'm gonna start to walk away.
Yeah, you go on back home. I need to talk to Master Fenrick. And as you walk away, everything seems to get start to get darker, and everything starts to distort a little bit. Here, one moment. When you walk through it, it quickly becomes nightfall, and you find yourself, though you are walking down the path towards your home, you find yourself going into the area of the sacred forest. And memory starts to flow back as you slightly remember what happened in this clearing on that fateful day.
This is so familiar. Oh no.
Ahead of you, you find a hunter crouching over a very large stag in the sacred forest. You see the shimmering silver sheen on its coat and know that it it is in fact one of the enchanted stags that are protected in the forest, one of the protectors of the forest. You feel an unbridled rage bubbling up from inside you as you see him standing over its corpse.
What are you doing?
Oi! Who's out there?
You know it's illegal to hunt in these lands.
Aye, these lands aren't claimed. They're odd, they're strange, and they're dangerous, but no one holds claim to them. No one lives out here.
I live out here.
Bah! Just you and your kind. You're just part of the forest. No mind to me and my people. He's still, like, is hunched over the body as he kind of stands up and squares off towards where he thinks you are, slightly off to the side as he can't quite see you directly.
You better leave and never come back to these lands if you know what's good for you.
Aha! What's good for me? You twig-eating brutes. Why don't you try and make me leave?
I'm gonna go up and try to, like, get between him and the deer.
All right. Make a melee attack roll for a maneuver to try to shove him off.
$18.
All right. So, yeah, you get up to him and you just kind of like use your larger frame to body slam him. And doing so, you realize that you have actually aged out of that younger body that you were standing in the previous clearing with. And you are actually closer to your current stature now, if not maybe just a little bit younger. And you use that weight to just body slam this guy almost a foot shorter than you. And he shoves back about 10 feet. I can't believe you've done that. And he reaches out his side for a belt knife.
Leave the forest.
You can't make me do anything. You're going to take that stag from me? We're going to fight for it. As he pulls out his knife, and it seems much larger and serrated than what would a hunting knife be. Seems like this guy knows a little bit more of fighting more than animals.
I don't want to fight you. I need you to leave. I'm gonna push him again.
All right, make your melee attack.
8, sorry.
With that, he kind of like gets shoved a little bit and says, "All right, enough words." And he grabs you by the front of your tunic and he goes to stab you on the side. And with that, he connects. It doesn't get into anything vital, but he definitely sinks the knife into a nice set of muscle there on your side. Dealing 8 damage. Ouch.
Alright. Guess I go into a rage. As I go into a rage, vines cover the floor around me, creating a difficult path and entangling his feet. And I push him again. And say, I don't want anyone to get hurt any more than they already have. You need to leave. 11.
All right. So as you rage, you feel that unfamiliar rush of fey magic boiling up in you. You've never been able to actually pull your fey magic forth before. But as you get angry and you just want this man to leave, you feel it boiling up and the vines come up and they wrap up his legs and they hold them fast as you shove him in the shoulders really hard. And you just hear this kind of sickening crack noise as he falls backwards in unnatural stature. And his legs don't seem to move as much as the rest of his body does. He falls to the ground, screaming, "Ah, my legs!"
Oh no. Oh no. I didn't mean to. I just meant for you to leave. I didn't want anyone to get hurt.
Cradling his legs, you can kind of see a little bit of bone jutting out of one spot just above his knee. He's like, you monster! You should be torn out of the force. You guys are not fit to be in society. I can't believe this." And he starts trying to grab ripped parts of his shirt to staunch the bleeding on his leg.
I'm gonna try to go to, like, try to remove the vines, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't like that.
As you go up to him and you start pulling at the vines, everything starts to blur around your vision, and echoes start happening in your ears as the man kind of slowly fades to mist under your hands. You feel that bit of afterward battle energy still running in your veins, and that panic as you feel like you need to get out of here. You need to leave.
I'm gonna continue walking off.
As you are leaving through the clearing and through these pathways, you don't know where you're running, but in front of you, you see your mother standing in front of the sacred pool. The sky is lightened a bit over the time of you being here. She looks up to you, slightly confused, but with a smile on her face. "Oh, child, what are you doing here?"
I think I did something bad. I hurt someone. He was hurting the forest. I don't know what I've done.
Come here. Come and tell me about it. Calm down.
I tell her about the stag that the man killed and that my magic worked. For once,
So she has a very concerned look on her face as you tell her about, the stag in the forest and the man and how he stabbed you. And during that time, she starts inspecting the wound on your side, which you notice is still there. "Oh no, honey, you're so hurt." And she kind of gets a lighter look on her face, and she says, "But your magic, it came out, and maybe it was because you were trying to protect the forest, and the forest knew."
It's not. I just wanted to help. I don't. Can I help this way?
Of course. I mean, if it wasn't for people defending the forest over these hundreds of years, this forest would not be here. We have very peaceful ways now, and it is the way of the world. But that's not how it always has been.
Okay.
People used to learn, become one with the animals, and fight off people trying to move into this territory. People have always tried to claim land that was unclaimed, and the forest needs to defend itself sometimes, and we are part of that cycle. We were originally all warriors, but have adapted to mingle with the other peoples of the plains.
I think I have to leave. I don't think it's beneficial for me to be here now. I need to be able to learn how to help without hurting.
Oh,
Help the forest. I don't.
oh, honey, here. She kind of touches you on the shoulder and says, "I know you're stressed out, but," and she keeps looking over your shoulder. This might not be the best place to be having this conversation, as you hear footsteps coming up behind you.
I turn around.
You see the face of the elder again, as he walks up saying, I knew this was going to happen. You've always disobeyed me when I've told you weren't to be learned at fighting, and now I'm vindicated. I know what you have done. I can't... And he just seemed to be shaking with rage.
He was hurting the forest. He killed the stag. I was trying to protect us.
Killed the stag? Quit making excuses. This man pulled himself into our town with 2 broken legs and bleeding. Claiming that you came into the forest when he strayed barely off the road and you brutalized him.
He stabbed me.
Aye, a likely story. You know that the forest is dangerous. You could have gotten that wound plenty of other ways. That man didn't even have a knife on him.
If you look right over in the clearing, you can see that...
As you start looking around and trying to point towards the clearing, your memory fogs and realize that you're in a different part of the forest, and looking down the path you have come, you do not see the clearing that you were in just moments ago.
He's lying. I didn't do anything wrong.
Ah, you've done something wrong. You've always done something wrong. You think just because you're the one person in the town who cannot access their magic, you could do whatever you want. It's a form of inadequacy, but swing a hammer to create things, not break people's limbs.
I did access my magic.
Oh, you did you? More lies?
I think everything I do is so wrong.
And with what happened today, do you think I'm wrong? Do you think that the town that he came from will leave this unsaid? No, I don't think so. Me and your mother have things to discuss. I need you to get out of the forest. I'll speak to you later.
Disgruntled and angry, but I leave.
As you go to leave, you start hearing them speak behind you, but in muffled tones. You can hear your mother raising her voice to him and saying very strong words, but you can't quite make them out. They all seem muffled and confusing in your ears in this odd area you're in. The paths you're traversing down around the lake, you know in your mind that they aren't the ones leading to your home, but they just feel like the right direction to be going at this time. During your travels, the sky lightens once more back into the broad light of day. You seem to be more weary and you seem to ache, but more from an emotional standpoint than a physical one. The area around you seems disjointed and unnatural, but ahead of you, you see the familiar shape of the home you've had since even before leaving your village. The one that you have recent memories in.
I go inside and I start packing up my things. Muttering to myself, I'll show them. I'll protect them. They'll see one day.
As you pack your things, throwing them in various trunks and containers around, you were ill prepared for this sort of action, as you've never thought you would ever leave your home village. But with recent events, they seem like the only option. You hear a voice behind you, familiar from your mother. What are you doing?
I need to leave. I need to learn to be able to protect people without hurting them. I can show them. You can protect someone with your fists. Just gonna keep gathering things, doing my best. He doesn't understand. I don't think he'll ever understand.
Unfortunately, I think you're right on that one. He's always been against this whole thing, and despite our ancestors being warriors and there being so many other paths, he's spent his whole life trying to create a peaceful solution with the neighboring towns, which is noble, but I believe his current actions are the ones that are misguided. I will not say that staying here is going to be easy. It will be hard. And if you feel like you need to go, well, then you need to go. But I want you to know that you will always have a home here despite what he says. He may be the elder, but the town still loves you.
Why doesn't he believe me? I didn't do anything wrong in those woods. I only did what I thought was necessary.
I believe you. And I believe that what you said about the poacher was true. I spent some time wandering through the forest and I did find the stag. I brought it up to the elder, but he's very angry and he doesn't want to see reason. In time he may come over, but if you feel like you need to go out, that is something you can do, and you can leave with my blessing, and I will do anything I can to prepare you for your journey.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding, for believing me.
She kind of looks around the house. What all were you trying to bring with you?
Just food and some items just to gather so I can have what I need. I've never thought of leaving. I don't really know what I would need. I'm going to pick up the little bag of bits and baubles that I grabbed from around and throw them over my shoulder.
Yes, you've never had to leave the village before, and it's hard, but I wonder if there's a way that we can have part of the village go with you. All of our buildings are made from wood of the forest. I think I might be able to do something. Here, come with me outside.
Okay.
As she walks outside, she looks back at the house and kind of like eyeballs the surrounding area. She says, well, we may be outside of what we now call the sacred forest, but the sacred forest used to be much larger, and I believe it still has memory within the roots of all of the trees and plants in this area. She starts mumbling an incantation and kind of waving her hands in front of her, kind of motioning at different parts of the ground and of the house in front of you. And you see it starts to shrink. You hear the creaking of wood and the shuffling of dirt as even the dirt around the house begins to shrink and become somewhat of a miniature of itself. She walks over in front of the now miniature house and says, This will be our gift to you. It is your home, the home you've lived in ever since you've become grown. And I want you to bring it with you wherever you travel so you always have a place to stay, always have the things you need, and a memory of home.
Definitely crying. I don't know how to thank you.
You can thank me by staying safe and going out into the world and proving to them that you can save people, you can do good things with the skills you have learned, and you can protect people.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna hug her.
She hugs you back, and you can tell that at this point she's also crying, and just says, just please stay safe, and one day come back to us. And in that scene, you feel your mother, holding you in her arms, but everything seems to go slack for a minute as everything goes dark again. You hear the voice in your head again saying, it's almost time for you to wake up again. but just think about what you've seen today and remember it when you wake up. And with that, we're done with Fenrick's portion of our story today.
No.
I hope everyone enjoyed a quick, dreamlike insight into Fenrick's past and his motivations and what led him to leaving this town.